Okay, so this is last week. Last couple of weeks, we saw how the Haredi Shemitah has been revolutionized, and now we're going to talk about the Dati Leumi Shemitah, which I think we mentioned uh, um, is very much opposed to all this chutzlaretz produce, produce of now of Arabs and so on and so forth, and yet they don't. Some of them don't want to keep that the mechira. So what do they do? So here we have the document from the Beit Hadin Linyanei Shvi'it of Gush Etzion, and the document concerning their Otzar Beis. Okay, so it's interesting how they open it. It doesn't say Baruch Hashem at the top. It says Beis Hey Nun Vav Aleph, which stands for B'Shem Hashem Naaseh B'Shem Hashem Naaseh. I'm not sure what the Aleph is actually. No. B'Shem Hashem Nelech Beis Hashem Hashem Nelech. I know what the Aleph stands for. Look this up. Be'ezras Hashem Naaseh V'Natzliach Amen. Wow, never even heard of that before. So it's kind of weird that that's how they started. But okay, so what was that again? Be'ezras Hashem Naaseh V'Natzliach Amen. Okay, P.S. and me. Beis Hadin who come to question Asa Shemitah Tavshin Pei Beis. The Beis Din it was set up for this year's Shemitah. Now it's interesting in modern Hebrew, I should say modern Israel, the term Beis Din really has lost its original meaning, because when we talk about a badatz hashgacha or badatz for Shemitah, it's not a Beis Din. It's a body, an authority, but obviously it's come to, since the original Mahadran Hechsher was the badatz of Beta Haredi, so everybody else called themselves now to clarify that they too are Mahadran, a Beis Din. Okay, Be'ez and May. Be'ez who come to Krashnas at the Shemitah Tavshin Pei Beis b'Yod Mat, Otzar Dati Gush Etzion B'Rashus Rav Rafi Ostrov. So they set it up and his initiative. They'll say in order to give a response, like kibbutzim, chakuim pratim Gush Etzion, for the kibbutzim and for the individual farmers in Gush Etzion, Amunyanim L'Kayim B'Sitzah Shemitah, who want to fulfill the mitzvah of Shemitah, Mibli Lizakek Le'etar Mechira, without coming on to the Heter Mechila. Also to allow for the supply of agricultural produce with a top-notch kashrus to the customers, the consumers in Gush Etzion. Matrata Beis Din Hili Mitzias Pitron L'Chasim Hu Dar L'Chaklai. First, the basis to find a halachic solution, which is optimum for the farmer, which allows him to fulfill mitzvah shmita as is appropriate. When he makes his fruit and hefker, and he has basin to distribute them via the Otzar. Is different than all the other batei din, which were set up only in order to supply a produce which is of the optimum kashrus to the consumer. So in Gush Etzion, obviously there are farmers who want to keep Shemitah, and their concern is not just with like the other Mahadran batei din, which with the consumer, but with the farmers themselves. So as we saw, it used to be that in the Haredi community, that also was the case, but that really is not the case anymore. It's more that Leumi community. But Beis the Beis Din accompanies all the farmers that come into its gates, and directs them what activities they can do in their fields according to I guess he means normative halacha. Because those, therefore, Beis Hadin Poel B'livui shel Beis Hadin is in b'livui shel Beis Din Asros Chaklim B'Rachavei Haaretz. I guess there's a word extra, some extra words in that sense, but it's not just Gush Etzion. It's for farmers throughout Eretz Yisrael. Tachlis lo shel Beis Hadin polin kam kibbutzim. So kibbutzim which operate under this basin. Moshavim shitufim. Shitufim are like kibbutzim, except they're not common ownership. I'm not sure anything is real common ownership nowadays. Yikavim, wineries, but they buy in olive presses. Tipulosha based in the frasa mikvan rachav shegidulim. The treatment of the basin spreads over a broad array of things that grow. Grapes and wineries, mateze sim, l'shemen, olive orchards for oil, v'duvavanim, cherries, peros shonim v'yirakos, various different fruits and vegetables. Otzar Beis Din Gush Etzion hu otzar l'lo gav kalkali. The Otzar Beis Din Gush Etzion is a Otzar which has no financial backing. Beis Hadin Chosem Haskem B'Frat Kol Chaklai. The Beis Din signs on a specific agreement with each farmer. Shibon Mugdaros Hamlachos Hamutaros, which are defined, the malachos which are permitted by Suras B'Shemittah. Also, Shemittah Tochis Yatzus the whole time to provide advice or giving advice. With agricultural leaders. Now here, he says that the livelihood of the farmer, what he's paid as a shliach Beis Din, and the ways in which he distributes his produce are certified by the Beis Din. So here we have principle Otzar Beis Din, which is that the farmers become the shluchim of Beis Din. They're not farming their own land. They don't have land. They're mafia their land. They are farming the land on behalf of Beis Din, and they're only doing. They're not allowed to do any technical commercial activity with their fruit, right? But the Beis Din can, and Beis Din appoints them as those shluchim in doing that activity. Otzar Beis Din Otzar Beis Din Melaveh. He keeps on repeating himself here. Otzar Beis Din Melaveh Al Chaklim Shemittah Mitzvos Yirei Shamayim. It accompanies farmers who are Shemittah Mitzvos and Yirei Shamayim. Shagam Al Son, that the purpose of the kind of Mitzvah Shita Bovan and Mudar is fulfilling Mitzvah Shemittah in the optimal manner. Beis Chaklim Shem Sapkim Totzes Chadus Gush Etzion. Evidently, they're also farmers who are not fulfilling, but they want to provide their produce to stores in Gush Etzion. And in order to do that, they have to meet the criteria of those are based. They maintain an ongoing connection with the farmers by means of visits, being paid. What's the word? Checking up in the area in which the food grows, but Batei Arizah, the places where packaging takes place. Marlog, boy, my knowledge of Moshe tables is not as good as it used to be. Let's see what this is. Merkaz logistical centers. Okay. Oh, did I lose the share? Yeah, logistical centers. Telephone contact, manel shows and answering halachic questions. Basically, as much as possible to today to act to sharbish arts, that the produce of these farmers will be accepted in marketplaces throughout the land. Beis Hadin no go bet tashlum me'achakim ma'avur, so the basin doesn't collect the fee from the farmers for its work. That way narrows the expenses. Allows a greater payment to go directly to the farmer on the one hand, and the selling of the fruit for a price which is no more than the average price of the marketplace, presumably the marketplace which relies on the heter mechila. So even the Dati Leumi sector is cognizant that it can't demand that much Mesiras Nefesh, because obviously at some point people go over to the Charedim and start taking the non-Jewish produce. Otzar the teacher Gush Etzion, the religious council Gush Etzion Mamenes, as Elias Beis Hadin pays the expense of the basin. The Zasbir Gun helps with the organization with Stadim Minhalim and with the administrative functions, Misapekashu same Misrat, and provides office services. Okay, so the Herke Beis Hadin, I don't think we have to necessarily go through all the names, but these are Rabbi Zev Wittman is a well-known, was the Rav of Tnuva for many years and seems to be one of the experts of kashrus. That name is I recognize that name. I recognize Rav Yosef Tzvi Rimon, who's one of the major poskim in the Dati Leumi world today. And the other ones, I don't know their names. Not familiar with them. But they say here, Chavrei Beis Hadin Hemorei Balei Nisun Rav. Members of the basin have much experience, but kashrus b'chlal, kashrus general, but Shemittah b'frad, and Shemittah specifically. The rabbis of communities of kibbutzim, some of them are authors, chashubim, distinguished, b'nyanei kashrus and Shemittah, in terms of kashrus and Shemittah. Chavrei based in Polim al Basisi Namazli, they are volunteers. We call chushat shlichus, because they have a feeling of a mission. We talk ratzon and out of a desire, the kademus pitron Otzar Beis Hadin, B'Am Yisrael, to promote the solution of Otzar Beis Din in Am Yisrael. So unlike the Haredi Shemittah, which is much more commercial driven, of course, the mitzvah is the motivating force, but the idealism, besides the motivating force of Shemitah, is in short supply to provide the customer with the product. There is the idea of Otzar Beis Din as an idealistic thing for the religious Zionists who want to use the produce of Eretz Yisrael. Chavrei Beis Hadin Mekayimim Yeshivos Teiros, the members of Beis Din have regular meetings, Shabayim Machrim Nosim Chasim, which they determine the halachic issues, Halim Shulchan Beis Din, which come up on the table of the Beis Din. Mitzavim es Darkei Hisnal Utz Shel Beis Hadin Shel Shulchan, and they plan the way the Beis Din is conducts itself, and also its agents' activities. Shutufei Pula. Because they want to promote the fulfillment mitzvah Shemitah and the mitzvah and the idea of Otzar Beis Din. The Beis Din cooperates with other Otzar Beis Din. The Beis Din expects all distributors and all kashrus agencies to accept the produce in its Otzar. Shamur v'nebar. There is no issue of sfichin, shamur, nebar. Let's explain those. Sfichin, there is Issa Rabbanan to use grain which grows wild during Shemitah in Eretz Yisrael. You can use that's called sfichin, because we're too afraid that people are going to cultivate the ground in order to produce that produce. So therefore, the only thing you allow, Otzar Beis Din can allow, is fruits and vegetables. Right, not grains. I don't remember if legumes are included. I think they also included sfichin. So a grain has to come from elsewhere regardless. It's a problem, but it can't be done by Otzar Beis Din. But the fruits and vegetables, that's where the Otzar Beis Din can be active. Shamur, obviously, if you guard your field during Shemitah, you keep it closed. That's also a prohibition, and that that fruit should not be sold in the marketplace. So no fruit should be sold theoretically, but certainly Shomor is it's to buy fruit, vegetables which have been safeguarded behind a fence. The never, of course, is that it was cultivated inappropriately. So therefore, the whole point of Beis is not to have any of these issues. And they are divided by, I guess, distributed by the agents of Beis, which are farmers or Beis Shemaim. Do everything based on Chacham. Really, Kedosha Zu, and this holy produce is appropriate mitzvahs to fulfill his mitzvah by Shabbos haaretz lachem lochla. That you should eat the Shemittah fruit in Eretz Yisrael. It's actually a mitzvah to eat Shemittah fruit, and that's what they're emphasizing, to eat the fruit of Eretz Yisrael, not the fruit of Jordan. Okay, so that is how the Dati Leumi world actually adds another aspect of Otzar based in, which is downplayed in the Haredi world evidently today. And I think that'll end our series on Shemittah in our day and age.